Revisiting the award-winning Able project after 5 years, Princess Anne was welcomed on arrival prior to being escorted round the site, which included a fish farm, a vegetable garden, and the new BMX racetrack. The fish farm, as well as providing valuable fish such as the sturgeon, also provided alternative learning and training for underprivileged young people, which should benefit them in the future. The princess was very impressed with the work done and the progress made since her last visit, and seemed to enjoy the day, examining the exhibits and chatting with the staff. The world-class Hepworth Gallery on the Wakefield waterfront had its topping out ceremony earlier this year, celebrating completion of the main structure.
I was fascinated by the explanation about what the ceremony means, because there is actually somebody who wrote to the local paper saying I should actually jump off the bridge.
Metal sheets have been placed all round the building and will eventually be removed, giving the gallery the appearance of floating on the waters of the River Calder, as per this model. After each making a speech, these 5 men, each with a different responsibility for the building, jointly planted a tree to mark the occasion, before posing for the photographers. The opening date is uncertain and probably depends on funding, but I'm quite certain everyone is looking forward to seeing it on its completion. The Good Friday Witness Walk took place as usual, pausing in the precinct before proceeding on their chosen route. They eventually arrived and entered the cathedral for an Easter service. As the outgoing mayor lives on the outskirts of Wakefield, she is allowed a parade of her own. The parade left the Memorial Hall for a service at St Mary's Church, Outwood. A new path lab was opened at Pinderfields Hospital on April the 28th by Princess Anne, when a welcoming ceremony took place prior to an organised tour of the laboratory, available only to the privileged guests. After the tour, the princess met members of the staff when a plaque was unveiled by the princess. She was then presented with a basket of flowers. Before being seen off by the workforce and by a small handful of children waving flags. It's many years since a band has played regularly on Clarence Park Bandstand, but earlier this year the Wakefield Music Collective Society cleaned and repaired enough of the bandstand to be able to attract bands to give a performance, if only once a fortnight on a Sunday. After all, what could be nicer than sitting in attractive surroundings listening to popular band music? Weather permitting, of course. The new skate park was opened in Thorns Park on May the 31st by the Lady Mayor and her consort, Heather and Andrew Hudson. It was designed to keep skaters away from the city centre.
All that now said, I would like to declare Wakefield Skate Park open.
It was a sunny day, drawing the crowds to watch this exciting but rather dangerous-looking sport. These youngsters were awaiting their turn whilst the music played on. And they're off, each with his own style for the big leap.
Roasting weather today, so do make sure you got your sunscreen on, etc, etc. You know, the Australians say
He's going the pretty route. They all seem to land safely, I have to say. Well, most of the time. As the day progressed, more spectators arrived. Whether or not the youngsters will treat the park with respect in the future, only time will tell. The theme for the two-day Crofton Carnival on June the 26th was history. Plenty of scope there, and the participants didn't disappoint us. There were kings and queens, crusading knights, princesses, court jesters, all helping to make the event a colourful occasion. I'm not sure what part of history this is, but let's face it, you can't be historical all the time, and the children seem to be enjoying it. I bet he's got a tall story to tell. There were other attractions. These were mainly for the young.
Now, Mr. Bunge, I must go shopping. I've got to go shopping, and I want you to look after the baby. Well, it doesn't matter whether you want to look after the baby or not. You've got to do. Otherwise, I won't bring you anything back.
A At the end of the day, what could be nicer than to sit and listen to the music and reflect on what a good and successful day it's been. The New Milladam Community and Conservation Association presented Green Village Day on July the 11th. The activity taking place around the New Milladam Scout Hall. A large green man and woman wandered around the village persuading the children to make masks, the object being to wear them in the final parade. The workshop was a hive of industry, and some of the masks were quite exotic. This little boy didn't want to make a mask, but he did want his photo taken. Thank you very much. There were other attractions on the green, with live music and a barbecue selling various delicacies. And near the hall was a huge white elephant stall. The day ended with a parade up to the old colliery, where the children, wearing their masks, followed the green woman. Most of the children wore their masks on their faces. Others preferred to wear them on the tops of their heads or even on the backs of their heads. But in any case, it had been a good day. On July the 11th, the Dragon Boat Race was held in the Pugness Country Park, commemorating the day when the people of South China rushed down to the River Milo to find and rescue a patriot poet who had disappeared after criticising the government. The first team to arrive was the Wilkes Water Warriors, a fierce-looking bunch, and everyone descended from the Vikings. Before they could qualify for a life on the ocean wave, however, they had to go through a rigorous training session, which lasted all of 5 minutes. The race is a knockout race, with 2 boats racing against each other. And with 19 or 20 teams competing, it's going to be quite a long race. The start is on the opposite side of the lake, so they do get a bit of practice first. Oh, they look rather natty. So they should. It's the Nat West team. And here they are, competing against our friends, the Vikings. It's the first heat for the Nat West and the second heat for the Vikings. Both rowing like demented centipedes. I do believe they finished within seconds of each other. And here are the young ones going to the start. They're a motley-looking crew, but no doubt young at heart. They're the ones at the back. The front ones are, oh no, not again, the Vikings. They're steaming ahead. But not for long. The Vikings have capsized and are having to be rescued. Oh dear. But never mind, it's been a very good event, especially as they've raised over £2,000 for charity. Castleford decided to wallow in the 1940s this year. I must say it was a very good response, with a smattering of Dad's Army, old cars and old songs. But I'm not sure to which branch this little lot belong. But they're very keen, even if they have got their rifles the wrong way round.
boy of company B. And when he plays boogie woogie bugle, he's as busy as a bee. And when he plays, he makes a company all night in the bar. He wants a boogie woogie bugle boy of company B. Toot-toot-toot-lada-toot-toot-lada, toot-toot, he blows it into the bar. He can't blow a no less bass.
Does anyone remember the Andrew sisters? No? Oh well. The town of Gastrop-Roxel was honoured on September the 6th with the unveiling of a new plaque in the square of that name. Gastrop-Roxel, in the Ruhr region of Germany, has been twinned with Wakefield since 1949. The plaque marks the 60th anniversary of a very close and very successful relationship, and it has been placed opposite the Coronation Gardens, created in 1953, 4 years after the twinning. Herr Karl Krukele, who has travelled to Wakefield as representative to receive the honour, holds the position of Chairman of Leisure in Gastrop, and he was welcomed by Denise Jeffries and several Wakefield dignitaries who had been involved in the twinnings for many years. Long may it continue. On September the 11th in the Riding Shopping Centre, people were being invited to step back in time. The event was run by the Wakefield Family History Society under the organising skills of Alan Black. It was heralded by the town crier,
For Her Worship the Mayor of Wakefield Metropolitan District.
and followed by the Mayor of Wakefield, Heather Hudson, and her consort, who had been officially invited to open the event.
I'd like to call upon you now to officially open the event.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me here today. It's so wonderful to see so many people here. I know this is only going to be the start of what's going to be a great event, and I'd like to officially open it. Thank you.
Joanne Shaw, we must thank as well. She is the artist whose painting of Wakefield city scene, believe this has been based on a postcard about 100 years old, is it?
Yeah.
And that itself, the painting, has been photographed and then enlarged, blown up, you might say, is an appropriate expression, and there you see it on the wall.
Other societies were invited to participate, and the collective exhibits created a veritable treasure trove of memories. The Historical Society, with John Goodchild, the Museum and Libraries, and the Outward Video Club, with Tony Banks and his mining memorabilia. The costumes were loaned by Nostell Priory. The next 2 days were open to the public, and the interest was enormous. 2,200 people passed through the doors in the 2 days. A success story, I would say. About 2,000 rainbows, brownies, and girl guides and helpers of the West Yorkshire South gathered together at the Dewsbury Rams Stadium in October to celebrate 100 years of guiding. There are over 500,000 members in the UK alone, and it is a worldwide organisation, so there is something to celebrate.
100 years ago, this Saturday, a very courageous and forward-thinking group of girls made their way to the Crystal Palace to attend the Boy Scouts rally and to ask Baden Powell for something for the girls. The following year, guiding was officially founded, and 100 years on, here we stand. It can be hard to imagine in the 21st century a time when girls didn't have the same opportunities as boys, but for those girls, it was a really brave thing to do, to go and ask that they be allowed to do the same kinds of things as the boys did.
The final event introduced a French-based company performing a theme based on Herbert's dream, pertinent to this event as it deals with dreams and aspirations. The stilt-walking performers were very unusual. It's just a pity the weather wasn't better, but not much dampens the enthusiasm of guides. And they all agreed that it was a good start to the centenary celebrations. On October the 4th, hundreds of people turned up at Car Lodge Park, Horbury, to compete in a conker championship, the object being to break the world record for the most games of conkers played at one time. And of course, to get themselves into the Guinness Book of Records. Any age, any size, and no holds barred were the orders of the day. And if you don't own a conker of your own, we will give you one, if you can sort this lot out. Before the start, the atmosphere was electric, with the clicking of conkers, whilst everyone practised furiously. Oh, you'll have to do better than that. At last it was time to get into position.
Circle, if there are any single people are looking for a conker competitor, then please go into the centre of the ring and we'll find you someone to play against. The nut, no deliberate miss hit. The game will be decided once either of the conkers is smashed. If the lace is dropped, it must be picked up and the remaining hits carried out, but there are no penalties. If both nuts smash at the same time, then the match shall be replayed. Any nut being knocked from the lace can be re-threaded. A player having strings snagged will be allowed to take the strike again. The player must continue until there is a winner. This is deemed as having no conker left on your string. So, and if you don't understand the rules, just play conkers how you think you should and have fun. We managed 181 games, 362 people. So we're just slightly out. So thank you all very much for attending and hope to see you again next year.
The firm of Carl Stewart's Bespoke Tailors of Ossett was visited recently by the Duke of Kent, where he received a welcome and a full tour covering all aspects of tailoring. This is the modern way of cutting cloth, computer-controlled. Well, it would be in this day and age, wouldn't it? A far cry from a piece of chalk, a tape measure, and some big scissors. There was a wide range of suits, some even destined for Savile Row. The Lord Lieutenant seemed very interested.
This chap just wants to do that.
Eventually, a plaque was unveiled by the Duke of Kent. After which he presented awards to 3 long-serving employees. Soon it was all over and he was on his way again. After what seemed a very long time, the boards around the bullring were removed to reveal its new look, the fountains, creating a new pastime for the youngsters, whilst the older people tested the backless stone seats, no doubt enjoying the spectacle. Queen Victoria has been moved once more. I think she's getting a bit too old for all this travelling. She hasn't even been returned to the bull ring where she belongs, and now resides at the top end of Gill's Yard, looking across grass-topped Roxell Square to Barbara Hepworth's sculptures. An extension for computers was built at the end of the County Hall in around 1969 and has been demolished this year, leaving behind this pile of rubble. Leaving room for what, I wonder? The scene in the precincts nearing Christmas was a busy and lively one. Colourful stalls had been erected for the arrival of the German market, but its reign was short-lived for various reasons.
Oh, thank you.
But the turning on of the lights earlier in November misfired, as the machine, which was supposed to produce false snow, failed miserably. But if it's snow they want, the Wakefield movie makers will provide. Then came the real stuff, bringing the 2009 Newsreel to a cold and frosty end.